You reach the TSA podium, ready to hand over your ID. But instead of taking your license, the screen lights up and asks you to look into a camera. Wait, since when did your face become your boarding pass? In some TSA PreCheck Touchless ID lanes, they say this check only takes around 10 seconds. 10 seconds sounds amazing when you're stuck behind someone unpacking their entire backpack like it's a garage sale. But before you smile at that camera, there are 3 things you need to know: what it checks, what happens to your data, and exactly how to opt out if you don't want your face used as your airport ID. First, let's separate the real concern from the science fiction version. That camera isn't some dystopian eyeball scanning the whole terminal, tracking your heart rate, or judging your cinnamon roll addiction. TSA calls this system CAT2. Sounds intense, but the logic is surprisingly narrow. You step up, show your ID. Or, if you're using touchless ID, your face is already linked through your airline profile. The camera snaps a photo and runs what's called a one-to-one match. That's a crucial distinction. The machine isn't supposed to search a nationwide database of hundreds of millions of Americans to figure out who you are. It's only asking one question: does this face match the photo on your passport or ID? Same thing a TSA officer used to do by hand, except now the algorithm checks first. But here's what the sleek airport signs don't tell you. It's not just a normal photo. The system maps the geometry of your face, distance between your eyes, shape of your nose, jawline, and turns it into a biometric template. Think of it like a barcode made from your face. A regular photo shows what you look like. A biometric template is what lets a system compare your face to another image and decide whether it's you. That's why this feels different from simply showing a driver's license. Now, to be fair, for many frequent flyers, this is pure convenience. If you're in PreCheck and fly frequently with Delta, United, or American, that touchless ID feels like a VIP pass. Dedicated lane, quick glance, no more document shuffle. For those of us who live out of a carry-on and know every terminal bathroom to avoid, it's basically magic. But that speed isn't free. You're paying with trust. TSA says they're not using this for surveillance or law enforcement, and that your photo is deleted after a successful match, usually within 24 hours of departure for touchless ID. And honestly, for most travelers, that sounds reassuring enough. But the bigger concern isn't what TSA promises today. It's what we're all being trained to accept tomorrow. Because this is how these systems usually spread. First, it's a faster TSA checkpoint. Then it shows up at bag drop. Then boarding. Then lounges, rental cars, and anywhere a company wants identity checks to feel frictionless. Once face scanning becomes the default way to move through an airport, saying no starts to feel weird, even when it's still your right. In reality, experiences vary a lot. Some travelers report tiny opt-out signs, confused or annoyed agents, and pressure that makes it feel mandatory. Others say they opted out with no issues. So which one is true? Both. That inconsistency is the real problem. A right that depends on which airport, lane, and officer you get isn't much of a right at all. And we'll get to your exact survival script for the line in a minute. But first, there's another issue most travelers don't think about until they are the ones stuck at the podium. What happens when the camera gets it wrong? Let's talk about the risk travelers rarely think about. Biometric data is different from a credit card number. If your credit card gets stolen, your bank cancels it and sends a new one. But if a company stores biometric information and that data is exposed, you can't exactly get a new face. And even when the data is handled properly, the technology still has to work in messy, real-world conditions. Facial recognition has a long history of accuracy concerns, especially across different skin tones, genders, lighting conditions, and image quality. Add in outdated ID photos, glasses, a changed hairstyle, puffy eyes, or travel exhaustion, and the system can still fail. TSA says these systems are tested, and that may be true. But for travelers, the concern is much more personal. Even a small error feels huge when you're the one stuck at the podium. When that happens, the 10-second shortcut disappears. You get flagged as a mismatch, the line moves on without you, and suddenly you're standing there, trying to convince an overworked officer that you are actually you. Convenience is great. until it forces certain travelers to prove their identity twice. And TSA isn't the only player in this story. Touchless ID usually starts in your airline app. That means your travel documents, known traveler number, and opt-in settings are tied to airline systems and privacy policies most travelers never fully read. That's how privacy quietly slips away, not in some grand conspiracy, but through convenient defaults and settings menus we forget we turned on. The smarter move is knowing exactly when to use it, when to refuse it, and what to say before that camera gets a clean shot of your face. So, what's the move? It honestly depends on what you value more. If speed is your priority, that's completely valid. If you're a parent wrestling with toddlers, a frequent flyer chasing tight connections, or someone who gets stressed just looking at a long security line, saving time at TSA can genuinely change your day. But use it intentionally. Before your next trip, open your Delta, United, or American app. Go into your profile settings. Look for Digital ID, Touchless ID, Travel Documents, or TSA PreCheck settings. Know exactly how to turn it off, and do it before you're standing at the podium with someone behind you muttering, "Come on, man." Also, draw a hard line between official TSA systems and random third-party biometric booths. If some private vendor near a lounge or fast lane entrance asks you to enroll your face for a shortcut, walk away. Your face isn't a coupon code. Don't hand it over just because there's a glowing screen and a velvet rope. Now, if you prefer to opt out, here's how to do it smoothly without turning the TSA podium into a scene. The key is to speak before the camera scans you. As you walk up to the podium, hold out your physical ID and say clearly, "I'd like to opt out of the photo, please." Short, polite, calm. If the officer pushes back or says it's required, stay steady and reply. According to TSA policy, biometric screening is voluntary. I prefer a manual ID check. That one sentence works because it shows you know the rules and keeps the interaction professional. TSA says opting out should not cost you your place in line or trigger extra screening. Still, in real life, procedures can vary, so stay calm if the officer needs to switch to a manual check. And yes, someone behind you may sigh like your biometric sovereignty personally ruined their breakfast burrito. Let them sigh. You are allowed to use the option TSA says you have. Just be practical. Give yourself an extra 15 minutes buffer, because airports are unpredictable. Agents vary, and it's much easier to defend your privacy when you're not also stressing about your boarding group. And yes, you still have to carry your physical passport or real ID anyway. The system glitches, rules change, and the future still runs on plastic cards. Look, technology isn't inherently evil, but it is incredibly greedy for data. Don't drift into a biometric travel system half awake with a backpack on one shoulder, letting a camera make the choice before you even know there was a choice. So now I want to hear from you. If you were at TSA tomorrow morning, would you take the 10-second face scan or ask for the manual ID check instead? Drop your answer in the comments. And if this helped you understand what's actually happening at the airport, hit like, share it with someone who flies a lot, and subscribe for more travel tips that help you move smarter without giving up more than you meant to. Fly smart, keep your ID handy, and maybe don't smile at every camera just because it looks official.